I'm playing video games, and all of a sudden, our dog Princess gets up and starts growling, something she's never ever done. Chris's face is like scared shitless of whatever he's seeing there. Dogs, and Chris is screaming like, "Oh, like what is that?" And I'm like, "What the f is happening?" And yes, the bias in me is I'm getting scared shitless because I'm like what does my dog see and what does Chris Jr. see that I don't see? Let's see. Should you kick this off? Tell me what you've noticed. What sticks out the most for you on this whole thing? Besides, it's like, is it all of a sudden now Bigfoot all over again for you, or is it?
100%.
Really?
Well, dude, it's like, so I went into it this week thinking that, all right, I need to not take my Bigfoot approach of being so anti-Bigfoot and just like let's just right I had a bias of that ghosts don't exist, and so I was like, all right, I got to do some research, and so I immediately went into, like, literally my Google searches were explain paranormal activity with science,
right?
Which means my bias is already in play. Right. I've already attacked it with my bias, and of course I'm getting everything that I'm looking for. And truth be told, there's no way around getting around our own personal bias. But dude, we had a conversation over Super Bowl with James, and like he said a lot of things, and I kept quiet through a lot of that because I a lot of it was like pretty personal, and I didn't want to shit on that, if I could say it that way. Yeah. And so, but dude, even some of your occurrences that you've talked about are explainable by science, and it really comes down to like almost like a faith level, like base where you got I believe in ghosts, so the unexplained is ghosts. And it's like, well, no, the unexplained is like you didn't realize that this happened, and that it's this fan that's resonating at this proper frequency that jiggles the fluid in your eyes, and that sounds crazy, but it is 100% proof. Whereas ghosts, there's no proof, and so. But then I also went down the road of looking at, all right, let's look at like not ghosts explained by science, but like help me understand paranormal activity, and dude, it's the Bigfoot group of wackos that are just like the language they use, the dude, it's all misleading, man. It's all salesman. It's all snake oil. It is 100% like you just, at some point it just reduces down to, you just gotta believe. You just gotta you want to believe this is it, and that's it. And I can't. There's no way around that for me. I feel like and.
Yeah, I could see. Okay, so I feel like whenever you research something that you, like you said, you set yourself up because you're biased, and the way you Googled it was in a biased way.
Not
right?
just me, but dude, you have a bias when you Google it, right? Like
right.
That link you sent me today, was that proof that it is that ghosts exist, or was it? I mean,
no. Like but the thing is like if you compare seeing ghosts or catching weird things on camera compared to that other video, video of Bigfoot I sent you. You know what I mean? Like that's, you know what I mean? Like there's only a handful of these Bigfoot videos that are, and maybe 3 or 4 of them are kind of like, ooh, that's kind of cool and unexplained. I can't explain this. But there is endless things caught on tape with ghosts or things moving or weird things happening. It's like it's endless. Like that you get these. you're saying yes, these things can be explained. Like if a book fell off a shelf, or a chair starts turning, or absolutely, can someone be putting fish string around something and pulling shit? Yes, I get it. I believe in hoaxes. I believe in drones that they put light on the skies, and people try to, and they film it and they say it's a UFO, but it's really just a drone or something. Or
I was flying my drone in Hawaii. And I had a strobe on it, and it's amazing once you get out like 200 feet. You have no, you can't. And do my drone is small. It's a DJI Mini SE, I think is what it is. Anyways, but I had the FAA approved strobe on it, so I'm flying over the ocean just before sunset, and I start bringing it back. I had people as it's coming close, people are getting up from their chairs because they can't see me, right? I'm down lower, chairs are above me, and they're like, "Oh, it's a draw, dude. We saw that thing for the last 5 minutes. We thought that was a UFO. We didn't know what that was." So imagine if someone they probably recorded it and were ready to post it to YouTube or something. It's what is this thing out here? And it's because it's a strobe that you can see from 3 miles away, and it's moving at unbelievable speeds because it's so close. And so, just dude, for sure that happens. For sure that happens.
I mean, there's times when I'm sitting in the living room and I'm like, fuck, I see something moving. There's something over here that keeps moving. And I'll look and I'm like, there's nothing fucking over here. And then eventually after I keep seeing this, I'll go over there and I'm like, oh, it's this fucking, curtain is the air kicks on and it moves it, and I see it at the corner of my eye. But if I'm looking over there, I don't see it. So
do you know why that is?
I know things can be explained, Chris. I know that happens, but there is times when things happen that don't repeat or that don't make sense. Even just in my life, if I'm telling you, I hear do 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 on the second floor, and I'm like, and it sounds. I know what my kids sound like when they get out of bed and they run across the upstairs. Mm-hmm. That's what it sounds like to me. I go upstairs, and all my kids are dead asleep, sweating, because they're always sweaty sleepers, and you can tell they're just sitting there, just drool coming out. They've been sleeping this whole time, And I've had talks with my wife, and she was there. She heard that too, but she'll be like, she's the same way. Well, it could be explained. It could have been a rodent. We had rats that big in our house, but no, we did not have rats that big in our house. But it sounded like it went across our hallway upstairs. You know what I mean? And those are things that just can't be what was that? Could it have been something? Yes, it could have been. I don't know what it could have been. I can't explain what that could have been.
Dude, it comes down to I think that, dude, our brains are super powerful, right? Like any AI machine, any computer today, what it's really, really good at, that one thing, right? Chat GPT is a language AI machine or model, right? It's really good at language. You know what it's not good at is visual representation of things, right? You could throw it a video and it doesn't know what to do with it.
Right.
And our brain is really good at all of that. All of that it's really good at. It's not good at one thing, or honestly, it probably is, but I mean, it's really good at art, personal survival. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But so we tend to think that just naturally that we know what things are, right? That's why you have a few personal experiences, like the sound of kids running or something like that. But because of your bias, because you already believe in ghosts, because of experiences you had when you were 16 or 17 years old, that shaped those biases, you come into it like that, right? Because of when your kids were, I don't know, you told me a story when your kids were real young. But already then you're establishing a bias as this is what they see, right?
Well, I never said what they see. I'm just saying they're looking at something like that story. I'm playing video games. Chris Jr.'s perfectly fine. I'm feeding him and playing Madden, and in between plays, I'm giving him another bite. And all of a sudden, he turns around, he starts looking at this place, certain part of the wall, and all of a sudden our dog Princess gets up and starts growling, something she's never, ever, ever done. And they're both looking at this space, and Chris's face is like scared shitless of whatever he's seeing there. And the dog is also looking in that same direction. And they're both looking at, I'm looking, I don't see a fucking spider. I don't see a bug. I don't see anything. I'm young. I'm 23 or 4 at the time. It's not like I don't have bad eye. I had good eyes then. And I can see, I'm looking over there. I'm like, what is going on here? And they're just dogs. And Chris is screaming like, oh, like, what is that? And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And yes, the bias in me is I'm getting scared shitless because I'm like, what's happening that I don't know what's happening? Like, what does my dog see and what does Chris Jr. see that I don't see? You know what I mean? How do you explain that? How do you, like, yes, that my bias makes me more scared at that moment than maybe you would be. I don't know if you would be scared in that moment. If that happened to you, how would you react?
But would you, like, I wouldn't go towards ghosts.
What would you go towards?
Dude, I would be like, there's nothing, dude, my child, Lily, 4, like she's nine now. I don't know, for 6 years, she probably did shit that I was just like, what the fuck is this for?
Right.
Why are you crying over this? Like, this is no big deal. Like, it's just a pink spoon instead of the green spoon you wanted. Right. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's this level of, like, where they can't, like, they just can't control their emotions. And so, like, dude, maybe the ramen was a little too hot. Maybe it was
freaking baby food.
I don't care, but do you understand what I'm saying, though, right?
No, I do, Chris, because I have kids. I have 4 of them as well, and I've seen plenty of times where I'm like, "Why are you crying over this bullshit?" This was told. This stuck out, Chris. This was something that wasn't like the other.
Maybe you should have been feeding him like fucking baby food when he was 8. Like that was the problem. No, kidding.
But yeah,
how old was he?
And he was in a walker still, so he was maybe 1, maybe not even 1, 9 months, 10 months.
Like really not even crawling.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he was in a walker, and I was feeding him. And the thing is like trust me, I have to talk because I do believe I have to talk myself into making sense sometimes. I'm like, okay, Chris, you didn't see anything. You're being dumb. You know what I mean? Like, don't be ridiculous. Like I know what I saw, but come on. It's my mind playing tricks on me. I'm gonna continue on with my day. I'm still gonna be scared. I'm still scared, and I'm still thinking in my head, "Oh my god, that's a fucking ghost." I'm being haunted right now. But I'm like, I do have to rationalize with myself to try to get me back on track. Like I don't know if I told you. Like one time I was playing video games all night, and we were in the rental house, and.
It was like 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago. I finished up playing video games about midnight, and I'm going to bed. And I have my phone light, and I use my phone just as a flashlight, but not the flashlight, just the light from the screen as the light. So I have it on, and I'm our bed's on the floor. We don't even have a bed frame or anything, and Chrissy's sleeping there. But it's dark. I don't see her. I have the phone light at my feet. And I'm taking off my shorts. And as I take off my shorts, I see what I think is somebody standing in front of me. Like I see legs. I see something in front of me.
Where is this at in your vision?
Like straight ahead. Like so, I'm looking this way, or looking down with my light, and I'm pulling with my one hand. I'm pulling off my shorts on the other hand, and switching hands. I take off the other side, And I go and I see something. I'm like, babe, what are you doing up? And then so the feet of this person is direct center of your vision, or is it like upper? No, it's direct center. Like I would have bet my life that that Christy was standing in front of me. Like Christy was standing there. I'm like, what are you doing up? And then I shine the light over her. She's dead asleep. And then I go back over, nothing's there. And I turn around and go play video games for another 2 hours because I'm scared. And I'm like, okay, what did I see? And I was scared. Yes. Did I see something? I know. I would have bet my life that, and yes, could it be explained? Could my brain just being, yeah, Chris is seeing things and my brain is so powerful. But you know what? what if the brain is so powerful that it continues on once you're gone? You know what I mean? What we don't understand, what if there's energy there that your brain has and power that causes you to walk the earth after you're dead?
Dude,
in some form.
That's a whole nother, we can get some crystals from Sedona and fucking decide that later. But dude, so there's so many examples of the way the brain works when it has minimal information and tries to piece things together, right? Like our brains are really what we're comfortable with are like patterns, right? Like we can hear static and it's just static, electronically produced, just static. And sure, there's some variation in it because that's how static works, but it's just static. Our brains will be like, oh, I thought I heard a word in there. I thought I heard, and they're like, dude, there's no word. No one said anything. It's just electronically produced static. And so we want to find these patterns in sound and visuals, and it's how it's how we stay safe, right? I mean, it's when we're walking in the forest in the middle of the night and we see something out of our peripheral and we're like, what is that? Well, it's because our peripheral, we have less cones that bring in light and for processing, right? So it's lower definition. But what it's really good at is seeing movement, right? But we don't know what it is, but we saw something move. It's like you seeing that curtain when you're sitting in your living room, right? You don't know what is that? And so and that's almost innate to that's because our eyes are forward because we're predators. That's what we're good at, but we're down to oh shit, I'm not worried about the thing hurting me, but what is it? I just gotta, I gotta duck down. And so even with memories, man, right? There's what is it? Memory regression hypnosis or something, right? Where that's where a lot of, and I'm an alien believer, but that's where a lot of alien abduction tales will come from, where people I was beamed up through a light, a bunch of bullshit, right? They raped me, they fucking did all this other stuff.
Me, yeah.
They tested my fingernails, and but that person, that's, dude, me myself. You could tell me a story about when I was 10, and I'm like, I don't remember that, and you'd be like, no, Chris, for sure, this is what happened, and blah blah blah. I was there, and then you said this, and this happened. And in 6 months, I'm telling that story as if I fucking remember it. Right. And so my brain will piece it together. Your brain pieced together the feet there. There was no one was standing there.
And I could believe that. To me, those things are explained. It's just when more than one person sees something, or there's been times where our dog, even the dog we have now, he's we hear something or I hear something or I feel something weird going on, and the dog's acting weird too. Maybe dogs. Maybe a storm's coming because he freaks out when it starts. We know it's gonna rain because this dog could freaking he's acting all weird, right? And all of a sudden it's gonna be raining in the next hour or so because this dog can tell, and he freaks out. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, but. It to me, when there's things that multiple people see at one time, to me those things are different. Because I believe, I think that's more proof to me. You know what I mean? When more than one person sees something at a time, you know what I mean, or see the same thing, or they experience things at the same time. I mean, if you,
but the dude, I don't think you're putting the weight in your bias enough there, right? If you're gonna jump on me for saying, hey dude, you didn't research the fact that Bigfoot could exist, right? Some dude put a comment in there saying that hey, listen, there's effectively saying that there's been cave drawings for 150,000 years about Bigfoot existing or something,
right?
And I was like, dude, I'm not knocking that. There's been cave drawings about alien spaceships,
and ghosts,
yeah. I mean, there's all of these unexplained things, right? And I'm not, dude. If anything, if Bigfoot existed, I would think that he existed, or she, it, whatever, they, a million years ago. to 300 million years ago, probably, maybe, if around dinosaur time.
That's kind of ridiculous time frame. Why not 10,000 years ago? I mean, why do you go that long? Just curious. I mean, why couldn't it? It's
because
proof that
humans existed 10,000 years ago.
Yeah, and 10,000 years ago, wasn't there like 4 or 5 different species of humanoids at that time, and we won, so we're the only ones around now. Matter of fact, if you look into some people's, what did Joe Rogan say? He has some Neanderthal in him because he's actually has Neanderthal in him, which Neanderthal is not a human. It's not like humans as we know it.
Right, which I brought up in my comment of saying that it, as humans being the only bipedal mammal organism, like we're the only thing that walk on 2 feet on the earth. We're the only thing that would kick with our legs if we lived in the ocean. We're the only thing that we are.
Anything that goes in the ocean kicks with their legs to swim. Dogs.
No, I'm saying, listen.
You throw an ape in it, it's going to kick his legs to swim.
I'm saying with 2 feet. Dogs have 4 feet.
Apes have 2 feet too.
Yeah, they would. I don't know. You understand what I'm saying, though? Like we're the only bipedal organism on the planet. Like we predominate. Like how we get. We don't. I don't walk on my knuckles, right? That 1967 Patterson Gimlin video that you talked about last week. If that ape was really trying to get away, or Bigfoot was really trying to get away, if he was worried, he would have got away in the fastest way and the most comfortable way he felt possible. What's the fastest way? If you needed to get away from something right now, how would you get away?
You would run.
I
would run, but I'm fat and slow too. So
it doesn't matter. But I'm saying, that's still your best way, right? Because that's how you don't immediately drop down to all fours and start getting away. And so that Bigfoot, quote unquote, was bipedal. He was getting away. He looked back. He was like, "I'm out of here." He didn't scamper away, and not because he's intelligent. He got away the most comfortable way, and that was in a time of stress when he needed to leave, not just like, hey guys.
Because he was stressed at that point, right? He can't just chill out. Like I've seen bears walk away, or things walk away calmly. He
on
no
2
one
feet?
said he's scared. No, I'm just saying. You're saying that the only, why couldn't he get out of there calmly like he did, or she did? Why would this situation of that 1967 film, that Bigfoot, have to be bolting the hell out of there?
It wasn't bolting for sure, right? Dude, I'm in agreement with that. The look back, right? That it did. Make sure it wasn't being followed. Like, there's so many things you can pull from that. My own personal bias, like for sure, like I'm assuming that beast is or that person in a hairy ape costume is deciding to look back on purpose, and I'm reading into that as any other human would. Like, are they following
or
me?
any other animal would? Any animal will walk away and look back. Any animal.
A bear
name an animal that doesn't.
A bear can stand up, but here's the point: a bear can stand up on 2 feet and show itself, right? It can become 7 or 8 feet tall and show up, right? You know what it's not going to do? It's not going to walk 20 yards like that when it's trying to get away. So
but
this
you're bringing
thing,
up points about it turning around, like it's a
this
deal
thing
breaker
was-
because it turned around and looked.
no, but this thing
animals
was trying,
do that all the time.
Dude, the point
People
was
do
is
that all
that
the
this
time.
thing is, and this goes back to Neanderthals. This thing was trying to get away, and it chose to get away on 2 feet, and which means it feels comfortable on 2 feet, which means it's bipedal.
Right.
That's probably predominantly how it gets around, if it exists. So if that's how that thing gets around predominantly, that means it is a blood relative of us. If we can trace our DNA back to Neanderthals, and that we have some of Neanderthal DNA in us, then whatever Bigfoot is, somehow, and I don't mean to make this about Bigfoot by any stretch, but somehow we would find we come from, at some point we split. And at some point we split from, it was Neanderthal, which wasn't as hairy, and it was, but we all came from apes, which were super hairy. But before that, we split and now you've got these super hairy, like super intelligent but yet also super big. Like you don't get that thing should be as smart as a dog if it's as big as it is. And so, dude, listen. The point is I understand that we can have Neanderthal, and I don't even know how to get back to ghosts at this point. But dude, so we have this bias, right? Like no matter what, even if you think you see your dog growling at the wall, your kid looks over at the wall, your bias is at play, right? Just as my bias is at play. And even if you say, "Hey, I'm coming at it from this perspective that I don't think that it's a ghost, and I'm going to try to think about it. I'm just going to focus on Madden." You're already scared. You're already and then your emotions kick in. Your endorphins kick in. There's chemical changes in your brain. You're already like, "Don't look over there. Don't look over there." I don't want to look over there. And you're like you're already sold, right?
I just like the thing is, Chris, is like I just can't get over your tunnel vision. Like you just don't believe there's anything more than what we see, which to me, there's so many different things that could be a factor, and maybe it's like that's what I don't get. It's just so like I'm sorry, I don't see it. It's not true, or I refuse. You just refuse to even think of it as a possibility, which is weird to me. That's all. I'm not expecting you to be all the way on board or be a believer or believe in things like I would believe in it. But you instantly go to just discredit anything because our science, which is not a perfect science, can't support something, can't support it.
I just can't see, dude. I'm not. Dude, at the big picture, right? Like if you look at maybe it's the way society like talks about ghosts. The fact that there's these YouTube videos of these drawers opening up and these things falling over. Oh, suddenly there's a book on the floor, and that's proof, right there, dude. Check it. And it's like, well, you believe it because of your bias. And so for me, it's like, well, dude, I attack it from the other perspective of, well, dude, there's like, isn't it amazing that the camera angle, one, that's a weird camera angle to be at the height of the cabinets. So what's behind it? Right? It's obvious that there's not a sink underneath it. Like, that's just a weird angle for a camera. And like, why would they put the camera angle there? And it's like, oh, so you can't see the corner of the room where the dude with the string is pulling the drawer open. And notice the fork flying out. It flies all towards the corner that you can't see. And notice the door opening up, which happens to open up in the direction that the dude is high. Like, like my bias points to the proof of why. So
did you see that? You obviously watched some of those videos, but I also watched them in that way too, because I'm looking for fake shit too. I'm like, is this like I can watch?
Then how do you not see it? How do you?
Well, no, because some of those videos you see that fork fly a different direction and something else go that direction, and there's some videos where everything is going different directions. Yes, is it very possible that there's multiple people holding strings?
Sure, but then I do
get your point with the camera angle. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. That makes sense. Unless it's an Alexa on a counter filming something, or I don't know, some other thing.
But at the same height as like you can't open, like, dude, it's a cabinet height, right?
But I've seen videos there where it's high, where it's on top, like it's in a normal place a camera would be in the house. Like my brother has this camera in the living room at the correct height. It would be in the corner of the living room on the close to the ceiling. There's plenty of video at that angle. You know what I mean? There's plenty of video. Like, the thing is, your argument with Bigfoot is there's 7 videos out there and they're all bullshit. There's millions of ghost videos. There's millions of things caught, and every single one of them are hoaxes and people faking shit or doing it.
So, dude, what's great is that last clip that you sent me showed a few videos of and dude, I spent like real time, like, for sure, not just 20 minutes, like trying to prove my case, but multiple times throughout the week, like probably spending 20, 30, 40 minutes going through stuff, reading stuff. And what was great about the last link that you sent me, again, with no context, but I thought, hey, maybe this is Chris like showing me proof that that ghosts exist. So I happened to see another YouTube video that its sole purpose was to debunk those videos. And it were these guys that were well versed in After Effects and video production. Like, they were able to see like, hey, how would we recreate this? And they pointed out so many things that I didn't even catch for sure. And it's dude, there was this video of this like, I guess it was a school because there were lockers, and it showed like these lockers like just shaking, like, well, this one, and at first I saw it and I was like, well, that's weird, and it just shows it like just shaking, and then there was another video, or like another part of the clip where it showed like a door close, and then it showed another one. There happened to be like this like because it's a school and it's like a concrete floor, almost like a gym area. It was like a wet sign, like a A-frame sign that just like went off and started flying. And I was like, oh man, that's really hard to figure out. Like that's weird. And then I saw the debunking video, and they're like, this camera angle was pretty low. Like, why is this, for this to be a security camera, why is it so low? Much like the drawer in the kitchen video, why is it at cabinet height and not above the cabinets? And they're like, listen, in this video, you can see up there's another security camera at the proper, like, you wouldn't have it, literally, if we were standing up, we'd be facing that camera. It was at like picture height. And so it's like, well, that's not where they put a security camera. You don't put a security camera where people can fuck with it. And so they're like, okay, that's step one. And then it's like, hey, let's look at these lockers. Notice it's right by that window, but the angle, it might be, those lockers might be overlapping the window, so there's someone on the other side of the window rocking the lockers, and then sure enough, the book that flies out of the locker, they're like, notice all of the other lockers have locks on them. The one that doesn't have a lock is the one that has a string attached to the book that has the door fly, like all of these things. And then you can almost see what looks like a string on the A-frame, the floor is wet sign, caution. But then to top it off, there was a video that these people had released earlier of trying to make a viral ghost video where they failed at it. And it was the same scene, but the lockers were in a different position. And they realized that they had to move them to like make it work. And so that's what the bulk of the videos are, man. It's can I get 1 million hits on YouTube or 1 million hits on TikTok today that is going to make me, I don't know, whatever it is, 10,000, 20,000. I have no idea what these guys make. And but and if it's not that, if you're implying that they're real, then what a waste of energy. What a waste of that's what these ghosts are doing, and knocking books off shelves. They're kicking the like caution signs on the floor of a school where no one's around. That's what they choose to do because they're angry because they got beat up as a 12-year-old and they died when they were 14. Like, just trying to piece it together. Like that's what ghosts do. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't like it. Just.
I mean, if ghosts are stupid, or if you think about, change that. Is that what ghosts do, and just say, is that what humans do? Humans do a lot of stupid shit, just being human and not a ghost. You know what I mean? They waste lots of stupid energy doing lots of stupid things. So to me, that's not yes. Can a ghost do stupid things? Yeah. That's not that's not convincing me one way or the other. Why would a ghost do that? Well, why would anybody do anything? Why does a dog chew up this fucking thing that he knows, like, the second you walk in, they know they did something wrong and they roll over, and I haven't even yelled at them yet. I haven't even noticed it yet, but I know they did something because they know they did something bad. Anyway, but the point is a ghost doing something stupid is not a reason for me to not think of what, That's why it's not real to me, because why would a ghost do that? Why would a ghost waste
what
that energy?
That's what all the proof is. All of the proof videos that you can find online are ghosts doing like bullshit things, right? I mean, is there like what
else would they do? I mean, I guess I don't know. What would you, if you were a ghost, what would you do?
So, I mean, dude, now that enters a whole nother topic of, I mean, I would talk to my loved ones and I would try to appease them. I would try to be like, hey, listen, I had a good life. You're a good person. I love you. You should continue on living, right? Like, I would do all of those good things. Like, man, dude, I would do that. If I was sick, dying of cancer today, I would be telling my wife all of the same things, right? Of being like, hey, listen, when I die, like, I'm going to die no matter what. I want you to be
there's people who swear that their loved ones do that. You know what I mean? That they talk to them. I mean, that do all the rational things that you say you would do as a ghost. Right. You know what I mean? But, and the thing is don't get me wrong. Like, I've seen, those crazy guys who throw the basketball from, across the stadium and hits a 3-pointer or hits a swish. And then all of a sudden you go back, like, this is something I've seen recently. This guy goes like this. He throws the ball over his head, or he kicks a field goal, right? And then, or kicks a ball, and it goes right into the basket. And then it cuts to the scene, and there's a guy in a green suit. And as soon as the guy goes to kick the ball, the guy grabs the ball, takes it over to the thing, and slam dunks it, like, in his green suit. And it looks so freaking real when it's not when it's the video that they made. But then they show how they make it with the guy in the green suit doing everything, or making the shot for him when he does it, and I get that. Like, so anything, it's hard to believe things because of technology and how much you can fake shit. But ghost videos have been around for a long time. You know what I mean? Like there's videos and stuff they captured on camcorders from the 90s or earlier. There's all kinds of stuff that's
which would be
out
easier
there
to fake today. Or I'm sorry, videos in the 90s were easier to harder to debunk. Dude, again, with video processing software, with you needed real equipment, right? What they do in the NFL today with even drawing like that fucking yellow line, right? Like, hey, this is the first down marker, right? And I don't know if you ever noticed where like players can step on top of the marker and like their foot appears on top, right? I mean, that's all computer processing.
And the yellow line doesn't go over their foot. In live time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, right. And that's all just fucking computers turning. I mean, and they're like mapping it to like, unless that person had a green shoe, right? If it was the same color as the grass, then it would draw over. So it's but in the 90s, that level of computer processing like required a semi, and so for sure, if you have what was it, like a VHS camcorder, or you're running like S video, like I can't even think what it was that was a little bit better than VHS. You need all of this equipment to, like, it's not like you can download it. It's not like you watch it on YouTube immediately. You can't upload it. It's a whole thing. Right. And so a select few people with access to that stuff were able to create videos. And that's what was created. So today it's just, I mean, that's why there's so many more, right? So many, we're going to show the kitchen drawer, and it's not about there being more cameras. It's just more access. People can edit videos more, dude. It's not, I don't see it as, I mean, if anything, the idea of a green screen just proves my point that more people can fake shit. Right.
Like, nowadays, it's easier. That's why there's so many videos nowadays. Like, but I'm saying, like, even just watching documentaries in the early 2000s and stuff, where, like, it's a haunting documentary, and this crew is there, and there's, they're showing footage of what the dad recorded of their kid doing, or what was happening to their kid, or what was going on in their house. And this is taking place in the late 90s, early 2000s, or even sooner. I mean, or earlier. Like there's in the 80s or 70s or whatever. They have these cameras that are just like they're able to. I mean, I'm not talking about videos we've seen on YouTube and stuff, but like I remember actual documentaries, actually things that are out, content that's out there, unsolved mysteries. Remember that show? They used to always have unexplained videos on there where
that show freaked me, dude. I can't watch that show tonight. Like when I go home tonight and it's like 1 a.m, zero chance I can watch that without like shitting my pants.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like Chris, and I get it. Like I get where the like I know the technology now today. My son can probably make a freaking great video that I'm going to be convinced that it's real. You know what I mean? Like, but I think that with all these videos flooding YouTube and all these people trying to get their viral hits, yes, it kind of fucking sucks. I think, I think that it kind of dilutes what's real out there. If there is any, I mean, if there was anything real, it's diluted by the millions of things that aren't real. So to me, I think that's what's hard. But if I think back, 15 years ago when I would watch these videos or these documentaries, to me, that was like, oh man, that's fucking crazy. Like, how is this happening? How is this shit happening? And like, I've seen these videos, I've seen these unsolved mysteries or debunker things where, they always like, I don't know if there's a show called Evil. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. And it's really, really good because it's about ghosts or demons or something. And there's a priest, there's a psychiatrist, and there's like a debunker science guy. So they go into these situations that the church sends them. They all work for the Catholic Church, and then they have to go, and their job is really to disprove what's happening. Is this something that really that the Catholic Church has to look into, or can you figure out what's really going on? So you got this science guy who debunks everything. He always has an answer for everything. And the psychiatrist is like, yeah, this is all in their head. They're all mentally unstable. And then of course the priest is like, no, I think this is real, ends up being, for the show, it ends up being real, but like there's all these forever. I used to always watch these haunting shows or whatever where they have people like that, where they have a science guy that's trying to debunk it the whole time, and most everything is debunked. Most of it's all crap, but there's some things that they can't explain. They don't know what's going on, or they really pick up something on their recorders where they hear things.
Yeah, but all of that. So, dude, it's funny that I watched a few videos of these guys going into like a warehouse, and they're like, I got my it's like they use abbreviations that you would have used in
EKG in Ghostbusters.
Well, I was going to say EKG, but I think that's a heart monitor. It's actually what I was going to say, but I was like, that's a heart monitor. I think,
yeah,
but you know what I mean, right? Yeah. But what they don't come in with is anything legit scientifically that would prove otherwise, right? Like they're going to come in with some electromagnetic, analyzer. Well, guess what, dude? Like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things in here that are putting out an electromagnetic signal. Actually, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like it's not like it was in 1970 where there was just a microwave in a house, right? And maybe a TV. So, but what they're like that's a bullshit meter. Like that's like it literally is measuring bullshit. Like so, and they only come in with that because it proves their point. It makes for a good video. It's what they talked about on Ghostbusters. It's 1965 technology, and so. What they don't come in with, like they're going to come in with an audio recorder, and they're going to, all right, we're going to record something, and we're going to see what happens, and then, you hear the playback, and you're like, what was that? What was that word I heard after my voice? Like once I stopped talking, right? Well, that comes back to the reverb. Right. I know with microphones now how important it is to have carpet and to not bounce off of walls, and how microphones pick that up. And now you got this super sensitive microphone you're holding. It's going to pick up the bounce of the audio that you don't even see or feel, but it's picking it up. And because of our brain, because it likes patterns, we're gonna try to hear a voice.
Right.
We can't.
How do you explain something 10 seconds later? A noise or something that's being picked up 10 seconds later. It's still
Because
bouncing
of
out the walls for
bias.
10 seconds?
Because was it a creaking in the building? Was it the floor settling? Does it always creak? Does it creak during the day? Dude, you and I
Right.
could go walking through the forest when we go camping, go hiking, do whatever we want, right? And we're not terrified at all. We do the same thing at night. And let's assume it's the same situation, but the only thing that's different is the amount of light. We are heightened. Our senses are heightened. We're scared, and suddenly our brain is in, like, fight or flight mode. We're in some level of, like, we just need to survive. What was that? Right? Like,
Right.
we start seeing things move over here. Maybe it was just a bat, but during the day when it was a bird, it didn't scare us. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because we just start, and then we just start piecing it together, man. And we just start, and then we just assume, oh shit, there's a ghost over there. Oh shit, dude. My house when I was growing up creaked all the time. Creaked. Not the house on Fifth Place, but the house when I moved to Chandler. Once my
Right.
dad remarried. I mean, dude, like kunk, like almost like you could just imagine, like the 2x4 is like dropping an inch. You know what I mean?
Right.
And am I gonna say that's a ghost? No, that's settling of the house, man.
Yeah, it's 100% settling
Yeah.
in the house, right? Like there's no way it was nothing else ever, right? Because that's it. That's all it can be. Is
How do you-
settling of the house.
So, dude, this is what happens, man. And I can't see how you have so much knowledge of how the universe works, right? Fuck the world, the universe. And you still, like, want to believe. It's not even that it's a possibility that it could happen. Because I'll be honest, I believe it's possible. Could it be ghost? Sure. I don't know how it works, right? There's this idea of a soul. I feel I'm so important, or humans feel we're so important, that there's no way when I die, I just die, even though that's really what happens. We're no different than an ant, right? That you stepped on 500 of them today, and you don't even realize it. Your life's just over. But we want to believe there's something else. And so I at least, I do believe it's possible, but not plausible. Like, it's a fraction of a percent, where you, like, it's like 10% chance that ghosts are real. Or is it higher than 10%?
But I would say the thing is it depends. Like growing up or in my younger years, I would probably think, oh yeah, definitely people die and they become ghosts or or demons or whatever. I would believe in stuff like that. Now, as I got older, now that I think about other stuff, I think it could be a lot of different things. I could think it could be not necessarily our souls or our ghosts. It could be something else. It could be, I believe that there is sometimes something that's real, and maybe it's not a person who died and it's their ghost. It could be something else. It could be some sort of interdimensional crossover or something that who knows? It could be anything like that. And yes, I feel like I'm smart. Like I think that I understand the understanding of our universe or whatever in our world, but we have proven every year and every day that we don't know everything. We don't know anything really. There's so many things that the best scientists in the world are disproven all the time. You think about all the science that has been disproven throughout the years, especially most recent years. With all the more technology you get, the more we realize we were wrong about this thing or wrong about that thing. The more digs we do in archaeology, there's more things we're realizing that aren't what we thought for our entire lives.
Dude, so in science, some of the biggest changes that have happened have been really, like, related to the building blocks of like the way our universe functions, right? I mean, not like dark matter or like, gravitrons or like all that stuff, but like just really understanding like what happens, like Big Bang related stuff. Like we're like blowing particles at each other to see what happens when we split them in real time, right? Like all of these centrifuge kind of devices, but it's not like we're inventing the wheel. like finding that the wheel exists. You know what I mean? And I feel
Right.
like Ghost is at that level where it's sure, like we already know all this stuff. And dude, we could go down a road of like mushrooms and psychedelics and like trying to think like, are you really traveling to that world? Well, the answer is no, you're not. Like your mind is, which is I think what happens with a lot of people who think that they see things when they wake up. It's sleep paralysis, right? But it's like chemically things happen in your brain when you go to sleep, right? To stop you from thrashing around, right? To keep you asleep. And sometimes you wake up and you're not. Your brain, I mean, dude, it happens like 8% of people, right? Where
Right.
like their body's half awake, but their brain's also like 75% awake, and so you're like, but their body has this chemical running through it that says don't move, and so you can't physically control your body, and we think that means you're possessed somehow, or a proof that like, and then you're in some weird dream state, right? And so then because you're sad because your wife died, which is super traumatic, and I'm not knocking that by any stretch. But then you see your wife, and it's like, well, of course she's on your mind. Of course she's going to show up in your dreams because that's what you're thinking about all day, anyways.
Right.
And so, and then you just assume it's a ghost, and it's like, well, no, dude, you're just part of that 8%, or you're part of that 8% that day that this happened, and it actually. You get a higher chance of sleep paralysis in a stress situation in your life. So odds are, if your wife died, that's a stressful situation, and so you're going to have sleep paralysis, or a higher chance of it. And so, and that's what we hear about. It's like gamblers, right? Like you never hear about all of the losses that gamblers get. You just hear about the winners, right? You never hear about. I mean, dude, there's people that die every day.
Right.
Thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that die every day. And how many of those people come back as ghosts? No, it's only the ones you hear about that, are, so it's, I just don't see. Dude, I want to play something for you. And there's not a lot of universities and colleges that will, I imagine, that support this type of learning. I'm going to stutter when I say it. Anomalistic psychology, where like they study like these anomalies, and it really is like there's this biased notion that we have that really drives these beliefs like ghosts, man, and they study all of this stuff, and I watched this talk in this guy where he mentioned, he's like, hey, listen, like, to be a proper scientist in this field, you have to be a skeptic, which means you have to like, he's like, my studies have proven to me that like I'm right, but he's like, I still approach it with a scientific method and he's like, that's how I can prove through this. He's like, I have to, and he's like, and I want to believe psychics exist. He's like, not one has ever proven themselves in 20 years of me studying this. And dude, there's been other guys that have have put up like a $1 million reward to say, hey, come, if you can, like, if you believe you're a psychic, show up, do this test, and you'll get $1 million, and not one, like, it's not claimed, right? I mean, so all of this stuff, and like, I feel all that's tied, right? Like if I can think back to James, right, dude, and where he talked about, and dude, this stuck with me so long, and I almost wish I would have said it when I was with him, but I just couldn't. I felt
right.
Like he's gone through some shit. Yeah, right. And it's like, to him it was real, right? Like I can think about your circumstance where the dog was barking at the wall and your kid was scared, or maybe Angel was looking up at the corner in the bathroom. Maybe there was that other thing you talked about. Was it camping in Michigan or something?
I was at my great grandma's house. Yeah,
gotcha. And I believe you saw that. I believe that your bias. You were 17 at the time, 16 at the time, whatever it was.
No, that time I was like 10 or 12.
10,
maybe.
Even better, right?
8, 9, or 10. Yeah.
You were influenced by an adult that said that she had psychic abilities and that she could talk to the dead. So all of that.
That's not. No, that's different too. There's like lots of stories. Remember the story I told you where I swear I was laying in bed and I had to pee real bad, and I saw that, and we had to pee in a pot because it was my
Yep.
my great grandma's old house with you had the
That's where
pot
you were
to
10.
piss in. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where I was young, 10.
Okay.
And
But
I
what about the
swear I saw
campfire?
some guy like this going like this, like he was just leaning into like the door sill was here, and he just leaned his head over there and going blah 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 blah.
You know what happened when I was like 9 or 10? I remember living on Fifth Place, and I don't know why I was up. Maybe I heard a sound. I got up to go pee. I don't know what it was, but in my head, what I heard was a noise outside of the front door, and then I heard legitimately someone opening up like an old Craftsman metal toolbox. Yeah,
Right.
because we had one, and
Right.
you hear it open, and then he pulls out some tools. I assume and then I don't remember him working on the lock, but I remember thinking, "Oh shit, there's someone outside with a toolbox about to try to like bust into the house,
Break in. Right.
Yeah. Well, as an adult, I realized that no one is going to show up, is going to be walking down the street at like 1 a.m. with a toolbox and then set it up, right? Like why do they need a toolbox when they only need like 1 or 2 tools?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But like in my head, it was real. I remember telling my dad the next morning, he's like, "Hey, next time that happens, just like wake me up." Yeah.
Wake me
Like
up.
why
Yeah.
you don't need to be scared. But I created this whole scenario around that. And that obviously didn't happen.
Because you didn't really hear anything, right? Is that what you're saying? You didn't hear any of that?
No, I believe I heard something, but I was a 10-year-old boy that
Right.
believed in. Dude,
What was it that you heard?
I used to sleep, dude. When I used to take out the trash, I used to openly, like out loud, like talk to myself, being like, "Oh, I'm so glad I took karate lessons yesterday. I'm so good at karate," because I
Right.
was scared to take out the trash. Right, I'm just walking through
Right.
this alley and dropping it off, and I was scared about someone, like kidnapping stories were huge, and I was worried
Right.
about being kidnapped, and so I would just make up these stories about like, I'm so tired from karate. I'm so good. I mean, I'm not that tired. I could still fend off I can fight off an attacker, but and I would say this thing out loud, and then I would close the gate and run inside, and I would lay
Yeah.
in bed and sleep with my legs spread, like flat on my back with my legs spread, because if an attacker came in, I assumed that he would come in and try to stab me, and I want him to miss my legs.
Right.
It's so dumb, and all of that was my bias driving those decisions. And dude, it's hard to understand. Like, it's hard to think that that's what's driving all of this. But dude, let me play this for you. Let me see if I can do this. So. What did
I
you
was
hear?
only able to pick up one word out of all that.
What was that word? Satan. Exactly. So now I want you to open that text message I sent you. What you should be able to hear is, "Here's to my sweet Satan, the one whose little path would make me sad, whose power is Satan. He'll give you 666. There's a little tool shed where he made us suffer. Sad Satan."
Okay.
I want you to look at these words while you hear this song now.
All right. Do it.
You ready?
It's exciting for me. Yes.
Here we go.
That is so crazy. I totally hear it. I was able to listen and read that at the same time. Yes.
Right?
That's exactly what it said.
So, dude, that is like the most powerful example of bias at play, right? Like you're expecting something in something that doesn't exist, and then you're able to like, you just believe it's true, right?
Right.
And so, and that's a crazy thing, right? This is a record played backwards from Led Zeppelin, Hairway to, like, Stairway to Heaven. Like, there's just no way that they hid that in. Like, but yet these Christian fundamentalists like that. So, that's bias at play, man, and that's what we all do because that's what our brains do. That's how we survive.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I heard the Satan before you told me what the thing is, so I heard that, and maybe it's possible you're putting that, but I know I wasn't thinking Satan. I was trying to think of what it would say. And for some reason, Satan didn't come in my head, but maybe it was subconsciously in there, back there somewhere. But, I mean, I get it, Chris. I get that.
But dude, the brain. We know that like playing records backwards, right? As soon as I say that, it's somehow satanic. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe in Germany, if we said playing a record backwards, you wouldn't think that because that's not a thing for them. But for us growing up, I remember, fuck rock and roll, man. Like, it's just going to make kids want sex and rock and roll more,
Right.
And we got to stop this rock and roll movement. And it's like not that was our era, but that was my parents' era. And so that was somehow passed down a little bit. Like I remember having a 45 record player and playing it backwards, busting my needle on it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And, so like so it's all I gotta say. Something as small as I'm gonna play a record backwards, and you're thinking Satan.
Right. So does this fall in the same category? Sorry, I'm looking at my phone while I'm trying to Google this real quick. But do you remember that whole thing that was going around for a long time? It was like Laurel, and you either heard Laurel or something else, and I forgot what the other word was. Laurel.
I have no idea.
Laurel.
Dude, that is
Lagunitas
IPA. This is a solid beer.
Oh, Yanny. Okay, that was the thing. It was either Laurel or Yanny, and like depends on who's listening to it. They heard either Laurel or Yanny, and like it was crazy because like Jake would hear Yanny. I only heard Laurel. Tessa would hear something else. And it was just so weird. It's like, it was like, it was unexplainable how that happens, right?
No, it's not unexplained.
I mean, like, it's not unexplainable, but like.
No, because
like,
it's our brain. Dude, again, if you just hear static TV. Dude, as a kid, I used to, old cable TV boxes, right? Would stare at would go to HBO. It's all
or Playboy Channel and hope that you see a titty
whatever
or something,
dude. And because every now and then, like back in the day, you would I thought I would, right? And so
you don't think you ever saw a scrambled up titty ever? Really?
I believe I did.
I know I did.
Yeah.
I know I did.
But
I know I did.
Right, but that's
because it wasn't like.
Sure,
it was the actual picture.
It wasn't
scrambled up.
It wasn't full noise. Yeah, but I wanted to see one. I wanted right. You know what I never saw is like a hard cock
vagina.
Right? Yeah.
Well, because they didn't show that.
But let's say like even dude, I remember this is a bad story. Dude, I remember how old was I? I think I was 20. I was probably 23 or 24, and so I work in manufacturing. Got to be there at 6. I was, didn't have to be there at 5 like you do. And, but I'm still, I lived in South, like it was hour and a half to work. So I'm up. It's like 3:30, 3:45 in the morning and, putting on my shoes, and my sister-in-law stayed over. This is in my previous life when I was married before. And, I turn on the TV, really just for kind of light, but my sister-in-law is sleeping on the couch, and then I was like, well, she's still asleep. Let me just and I turned it to the Playboy channel or something like that, and it's all scrambled on my big high def TV, but it's the old school box projection high def.
Yeah.
And I just I just sat there and watched it for 5 minutes and hoping to see something. And I thought I saw some titty, maybe a pretty face. Never saw penis, never saw hard cock, whatever. But I didn't want to see that, right? So again, that's bias. Right. I don't know what I saw, but anyways, my sister-in-law was such a jerk, dude. I think it was 3 days later, we're at a dinner with my ex-wife's work work friends or whatever. Her boss is there. It's this company dinner, and she was like, "Chris, what were you watching a couple days ago at 4 a.m. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, when I slept on the couch, what were you watching? And I was like, I don't know, the news? And just totally trying to call me out. I'm like, you're this 19-year-old girl. Like, what do you, like, step right. I was like, what do you, I was like, if you hate me, you can hate me, but, like, don't bury me here. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
She was a bitch. Anyways.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's funny.
Go off on a tangent there.
Dude, okay, so I'm going to go back to, listen, I get it, Chris. I get that I can look at the clouds and I can see a face that's not in the clouds, because my eyeballs are seeing something in the clouds,
You could look at a glare from a window and think you see like Mother Teresa or Jesus.
Yeah,
or right?
I can look at this piece of toast that came out of a toaster and see Jesus's face on it. And
who will never see Jesus on toast?
Huh.
Me. Because I'm not religious.
What would you see it?
I would never see Jesus in something, right? No, I don't have that bias. That's what I'm saying. Like they want to, it's like dude, again, I just want to hammer this home with all of the research that I've done of how you and me collectively on our own sides of this topic can't get around that, right? Like you're never going to be able to convince me on something that you believe is unexplained by science. And because of my bias, because science has already proved it. I mean, it's like trying to say that 1 + 1 does not equal 2. And I'm like, well, dude, it does. It doesn't matter what you say.
But so this is what you're saying. There is nothing in this world, in this universe, anything, anywhere, besides what we see, what is physically there that we can touch or, feel in the air or the wind. Even though we can't see or feel air and wind, but we know it's there because we can feel it. I mean, we can't see wind, but we can feel wind. Like there's no such thing of anything outside of our human senses.
No.
Is that what you're saying? No, I mean,
no,
that's it.
Well, hold on. So if let's say you take some mushrooms and you just like travel off to this far off place in your mind, and let's say I don't take mushrooms, right? Like I'm just there to make sure you're okay, and you realize like the reason for life, and you come back like just a whole person, and you realize, dude, none of this shit matters. Like I'm like I can let go of all this noise. Like it's this like you come back a different person. Did you travel anywhere? Like did you, in your brain, you went somewhere, you saw things, you went to another dimension, you did all of these things. But for me, you were just sitting on the couch laughing.
Right.
So which one tapped into like the dream world, and which one was still connected to reality?
I feel like you didn't answer my question. Do you feel, do you think that there is nothing else outside of our human senses? Like me and you are sitting in a room, we will never ever see anything. We'll never see something that can't be explained. There's nothing else.
No. We're gonna for sure.
We're sober. We're sitting here. We would never. There's a 0%. Okay, we're had a few beers in us. There's a 0% chance that we will ever see anything that our normal human senses wouldn't see or can't be explained, because nothing exists besides that.
Not to nitpick, man, but
nitpick. Go ahead.
I will not. No, I'm not going to be able to sense anything beyond my senses, right? Like,
right.
And I think that was just a flub of words, but
but there's nothing. There is nothing. They're saying there's nothing there. Like, there's no chance for anything besides us in any kind of realm or any kind of anything where we're in. There's nothing but us.
No. Well, so hold on, man. Like, I'm a firm firm believer in the possibility of like multiple dimensions, multiple universes, right? Like mathematically with like quantum physics, like it's possible that there could be an infinite amount of me out there that have had infinite amount of conversations with you today at this moment, that have said an infinite amount of things. Like I that's an option. You know,
But couldn't that be what people think are ghosts? Couldn't something like that be explain some things or
right? But so
I mean,
I go back to like, why would they just knock a book on the shelf? Right? Like so there are ghosts and all they're going to do is knock a book on the shelf and open up a kitchen drawer.
Chris, if I was a ghost, I would fucking do shit like that. I would want to scare you. I would want, if I don't know what my limitations were, I would want to go to your house and say, explain this, bitch. You know what I mean? And throw shit off your, out of your drawer or do what I can. Like, cause that's what I would do. Like, I think that would be funny and it'd be entertaining.
We've established that thousands of people die every day.
Right.
Right. There's no way that.
And the thing is even if I did die and come visit you as a ghost, you would instantly say, yeah, this is my brain. Like there would be no way I did that because you would like, even if I was able to say in a weird world that can happen, that I can die and I can come visit you as a ghost in your dream or interact with you some way, you would never accept it. You would never. No. Dude, you would never take it as oh yeah, Chris can because
here's the thing, right? Like and dude, I swear to God, this is what you do, man, and I don't understand how you do this. I don't, and again, dude, it's this weird disconnect, like
because it's black and white for you. There's never a gray for you. There's never.
That's not true.
It's never a gray zone for you.
That's not true.
Like, yes, because I believe it's something and you don't, and all of a sudden it's me being a devil's advocate or whatever. I am saying I can see past the black and white. There's a gray zone everywhere in this universe.
Is it possible?
No one really knows
Dude,
anything.
Does 1 + 1 = 2 to you?
You keep saying that. What does that have to do with anything?
That's what I'm saying.
That's simple math.
Right.
But that
is a factual thing. That is a factual thing. But there's
science and stuff that is disproven all the time. Mathematics is different. You know what I mean? It's mathematics is, yes, 1 + 1 = 2. That's what it is.
Sure.
Is 1 + 1 never not 2? I mean, but it's way deeper than that.
That's the analogy I'm trying to make, right?
Yeah,
like,
but hold on. To me, that's apples and oranges.
Let me get there, right? So I am so confident that 1 + 1 = 2 that there's nothing you can tell me that's going to sway me from that, right?
Right.
Like I'll go down any road to prove it, and I'll prove it 100 times out of 100 times. And so when I think of ghosts, I think of, dude, is there a possibility that?
So you're saying ghosts to you is 1 + 1?
No. What I'm saying is, if you're going to make the argument of that, hey, could there be multiple dimensions? Could there be multiple versions of you? And like maybe you're, like things that we talked about in the past, right? Like just all of these possibilities. Maybe if your soul is really a thing and there's these 21 grams that come out of you when you die, which there's a scientific explanation for that. Like right there, like you go down this road of saying, hey, it's possible. I can think with some of those arguments, I would be like, okay, listen, once we get into the, I don't really know, once you dip into infinite amounts of me having infinite amounts of conversations with you to think that there could be a chance that there could be a ghost. Sure. I'm allowing that possibility to exist. But then what happens is I start thinking of other things of well, why the fuck are they only opening up drawers and throwing spoons, trying to fuck with me? What's the point of that, right? Why are they only in schools when no one's around? Why is no one around whenever there's fucking videos of it? And or when they are around, it's super cheap. It's obvious that it's not a ghost. And then I start thinking of I just start piecing it together, thinking this isn't possible. This doesn't, none of this makes sense to me. So I start, honestly, I can see the possibility, but it's overwhelming evidence that it's not true, right? Could the Earth or could the sun revolve around the Earth? For sure. It goes around, to me, it goes around us. I see it every day, starts over here, goes over there. I'm the center of everything. So yes, it revolves around me. I'm the most important. But I have more information to disprove that now. Right. So I no longer believe that. So,
right.
And I never have, but I'm using that as an example.
There's no possibility of there being more information out there?
No, dude, more information for sure. For sure.
Right.
For sure. But I just don't think that if that's the case, dude, there's millions of people.
I mean, you keep going back to the drawers and the shit coming out. I mean, yeah.
Show Chris, me something relevant.
I know there's hoaxes out there. You know what I mean? I know that I mean, like, I don't know if you've seen, like, I would listen to these, and this even goes even probably farther against what you would believe because it's almost religious. But, like, you know, if you talk about exorcisms and stuff,
yeah, for sure.
You know, there's like a 10-year-old girl getting exorcism, and it's in the 70s, and they're recording it, and all of a sudden this girl starts speaking fluent Latin or whatever. But you know, I mean, like,
was that ever?
Was shit like that scary?
Was that fact checked? Was it legit Latin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're saying
and,
that now.
And
dude,
speaking languages and like no, I'm saying like it's happening. You know what I mean? Like they film it, and yes, it's a very good. It's a possibility they could have taught this 10-year-old girl to throw her voice and be, you know, talking in tongues or, you know, in this videotape or there's this I don't know if you ever watched these movies called The Conjuring. No, you ever see that movie, never. The Conjuring? I have to get their names correct, but
dude, let me.
They're all.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead,
dude. So going back to the if ghosts are real, that means if you have, dude, and you know, I'm gonna sound foolish. Tens of thousands of deaths a day, maybe hundreds of thousands of deaths a day. For sure, the Earth's population is growing. So there's less deaths than there are births. So, but still, it's not like we're growing like at a you know, it's a lot of people dying every day. So not
right.
all
billions and billions and billions over the years, right?
So what we're saying is not all of those become ghosts, or not all of those are ghosts that have powers or whatever you're saying, and those that do are ghosts that just do like benign shit, that do shit that provides no value, that is just there to fuck with you. Like none of that follows the rules of like the where we function, right? Like survival of none of it makes sense. And so there's a select few, and those that make it, those that become ghosts, those are the ones that just open up drawers. And if not open up drawers, what do they do?
Keep going to drawers,
yeah,
right?
Because what else do they do?
There's not a million other videos of just weird things happening, or
chairs falling over,
figures or things in the air or something. You know, there's a million of them. There's a million kind of.
You know how many I saw today?
See.
I saw one today of this weird ass creature walking across a lawn, and you know what it was? It was an infrared camera that had a low frame rate. And that was 100% explained on what it was. And then once you realize what it was, once that bias was introduced to me, I saw the legs of the person walking. It was no longer this weird thing. I was like, I see the feet now. Before that, I didn't know what it was. But then it was...
So this debunking thing, of course they're going to show you things they're able to debunk, because there's a million things out there. There's hoaxes.
But it's recreatable in like the laboratory, right? They understand the frame rate. They understand like, hey, these weird things you're seeing here flash across the screen. It's because it's like right now we're recording in 24 frames a second. These cameras record in like 3 frames a second, right? So everything is fucking blurry as shit. There's codecs involved, software involved, and it's all to try to make it look like it's a higher frame rate. So it's telling the computer nothing has changed, right? This car in the background It's the same. You don't need to redraw it. It's there. It hasn't changed. Keep it where it's at. And only once something comes across it, it's like, oh wait, now we need you to redraw it. But you're drawing it a frame late, and so it tries to do its best to make it look like it's high def in a sense, right? Like it's all of this work to make it, dude. So it's not that there's hundreds of films out there that do different things in open drawers. There's hundreds of films out there that are all shit. All of them. I mean, find one that isn't and let's look at it, but I just do not think that one exists. Not without like
which I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Yes, I agree. I believe that you believe that. Yes. It's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously nothing there's nothing I'm going to say that's going to make you think outside the box in any way, shape, or form.
But how can one think out the box, right? Like
because there's things that we don't know as humans, Chris. There's things that we have zero clue about.
What are you relying on to draw that conclusion, though, right? Like, dude, I have this basis of knowledge, and though I can't always like say it correctly, right? Like I'm never able to pull it out. I'm like, I don't know. I learned that in 3rd grade that Earth revolves around the sun, right? But there's this understanding that we have of how the world works, where I can like immediately piece it together and be like, oh, this person's lying to me. This car salesman is not telling me the right numbers because I know math a little bit. I'm not really good at math, but like that's not how it works, And so I don't need to. Like, I'm just not going to believe them. And so, so I have this general understanding where I can draw a conclusion. And that's what I'm doing here. And it's like, you're choosing to not listen to what you know or something? Like, how do you draw this conclusion, I guess?
Because I think it's different. I think it's different, Chris, because you keep going back to 1 + 1 = 2 or simple math or this is an apple, this is an orange, But there are things that we do not understand. We don't understand how the universe really works. We don't understand how anything works. They're like even like when you keep going back to science keeps getting proven wrong all the time. If 5 years ago they said there's no way there could be a planet the size of Jupiter that's a solid rock. And all of a sudden there's a solid rock planet that's bigger than Jupiter. When scientists said that's impossible, there's only things anything that big would be a gas planet. All of a sudden there's a big old fucking lump out in the universe out there that's just a solid rock. I mean, and that's just one point of science not knowing all the answers or being proven wrong. So. And that's just one example, but there's tons of examples of science not being accurate or factors that we are unable to put in our equations because we only have what's in our world or what our technology or what our understanding. We're limited to that stuff.
So why are dude? Listen, I understand that. Fully believe, right? And also at the same time, man, like we're the way we're measuring planets is we're measuring like light distance reflecting, like it's shit that we can't see. You know what I mean? It's we're basing it on our best assumption, our best guess based on our equations today, which we know our equations at scale might fail, but we got to prove those out. Like at our scale, it works. But at a larger scale, it doesn't. Like once you get, which is why it's probably possible to travel the speed of light under the right circumstances. But like with what we know today, it's just not possible. Like, but you got to have something else to do it. Right. That doesn't mean science is wrong, right? We just don't know yet. And so if you're implying that, hey, we just don't know yet that ghosts exist, dude. I will start with, and that's actually where I start, right? I literally think, well, it's possible, right? Like I want to think that, sure, there could be something else, but then what's their purpose, right? Why are they here? Yep. Why are they doing it? And I hate to, because you're going to fucking shit on me for saying it, but why do they go back to just opening up drawers and throwing spoons, right?
Right.
Like, what's the goal?
Because everything in the universe has a purpose, right? There's always something like there's a purpose for everything. There's a reason for everything.
Yes.
Are
you saying there isn't?
you don't believe in anything being random ever? You don't believe in the randomness of the universe? You think it's all planned out and it's how it's supposed to be? I mean, like, what's the purpose? Like, you know, I guess if there's a speck of dust on my chair here, there's a purpose for that too. I mean, there's a purpose for, people. I mean, even just human beings and dogs and animals and life do things that don't make sense or for no purpose. You know what I mean? There's
purpose.
I mean,
purpose is a confusing word, I think, right? Like, do I feel like I have a purpose? Yes. Is my purpose to raise my daughter and make her a constructive person in society? Yes. That's a purpose that I gained becoming a father. If I was never a father, that wouldn't be my purpose. But my purpose also is to produce for society, produce specifically for my society, for America, to on some level make America better, right? I mean, I don't know, make our economy better, like
right.
just to produce. That's what we do as humans, though, at the same time. So, but I think that we all live in a set of rules, right? Like again, going back to 1 + 1 = 2, that's a very simple mathematical rule. And, we can think of like there was something that was just disproved in science. General law of relativity, I think is what it was. Or something like that, where it's like, again, at a different scale, that no longer makes sense.
Thing, right?
That no longer that's
E equals MC squared isn't really true. It's only true
But in this section, it makes sense. But once you go to this, it no longer, like, there's more factors at play, and the rounding doesn't make sense anymore. And so, but no matter what, we live by those same rules. Like, this is what we know. We don't know this. We know this. Right. So I'm saying that, dude, I agree with you.
We know a grain of sand in this universe. That's what we know. It's a grain of sand in this entire universe.
What we don't know,
of all the beaches in the world.
I would be surprised if ghosts are just here to fuck with us.
But that's the thing, is like, that's how you take it. You take it as, oh, they're only here to fuck with us. They're only here to open drawers.
What's an example where they don't fuck with us?
What if they're just there? What if they're just here? What if they're just not doing anything? And what if there is, just like there's some guy that can bench 350 pounds, and then there's me. I mean, what if they have different abilities or different limitations than the other ghost? Either way, I'm going to conclude my argument with, I'm just going to continue to believe that there's something more than just what you and I, what people think is our limit. I mean, there's no limitation in the universe, is what I'm saying. Anything is possible. So, and you know what? You hate that about our conversations sometimes, about anything being possible, because maybe that's how I always go the devil advocate thing. But I mean, and I'm not like that with everything. I just think that there is, I feel like that you put limitations on things, and I think that there's not really limitations. I think it's possible. I think that, I mean, like, people have been seeing, you know what, and it's fair. Like I said, like, I don't want to discredit you, because I think it's possible that you're right. Maybe there's nothing. Maybe there's just you and I and the 7 billion people in the world, 10 billion people in the world, and there's nothing past that. But, I mean, for as long as human existence happened, it's been documented or that there is something else, that there is something else besides just us. So
right, but isn't it we've like, we used to pray to like rain gods. We used to think that there was all of these. I mean, dude, there were so many things that we used to believe as humans. 20,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, whenever it was, and we've grown to realize that no,
No,
this isn't true. And
I don't think so. Don't you think that stemmed from something? Don't you think that
the unknown?
No, I mean, like, it could be aliens for all we know. The reason why we pray to a god or pray to something is because an alien came down a long time ago, and there was something that these humans are like, what the hell's going on? This is our god now. We're worshiping this superior being. I mean, like, but there's a kind of an explanation for that in my eyes, anyway. You know what I mean? Like, there's probably a reason why religion has been around for so long, is because somewhere along the way there's something that happened that made us start believing in that kind of stuff. But either way, we're gonna go, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get a Ouija board. I'm gonna buy one. We're gonna go camping. We're gonna take some edibles or drink some beers, and we're gonna bust this shit out. We're gonna go in it with an open mind, and we're gonna see what happens. If that thing doesn't move, okay, then I'm like, okay, maybe it was all in our mind when we were kids. I want to try that. I want to give it a go. So come May time or whatever, when we go camping, we're gonna bust that shit out.
I'm down to give it a try. I hope
nothing happens. Be honest.
No,
you hope nothing happens.
Dude, if I could be honest 100%, I'm more worried about me affecting it not moving, right? Like that I'm gonna somehow try not to make it
like
move.
If you need an open mind for it to happen, it's not going to happen because you won't have an open mind.
Right, like as a kid, I was probably willing to make it move, and as an adult, I'm not. And so, I don't know, man. If it moves, it moves. If it doesn't, I don't know. You might. I believe you still won't. It's not going to change your mind.
Okay, but
right?
say
like you're going to blame me.
Say it moves. No. You're right. It probably won't change my mind. Yes, and I would blame you. But say it moves. Say it sometimes. Say you feel something. Because that's what I remember feeling. I remember barely touching it, barely putting our fingers on. Just barely. You're supposed to barely touch it, and you feel it drag. I remember feeling the drag, and you have to kind of go with you, like you're feeling it drag somewhere. That's what I remember. I remember you and I playing hide and seek, and we're hide and seek with Jesse and Rob, and we run and get the Ouija board, and we're like, "Hey, where's Jesse and Rob?" And it spells out tree, and we knew where they were. We went there and we found them. They were hiding in the big tree at the Indian school. Remember that?
What? Dude, but as an adult, what do we have? 33% chance of getting that right?
I would say, yeah. I would say there was a good 25% chance of getting that right. You're right. It was, but either way, I didn't fucking move it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm down. Let's do it. The
only thing is like, you're right. I won't be convinced one way or the other because I'll blame it on you. But I guess if it moves, will you blame it on me? Or what would you blame it on? If it actually moves, how would you... Okay, say we went camping, and this is our conversation afterwards. It moved. What are you thinking? I'm sure you're thinking of a rational explanation of why it moved or how it moved or what happened. But what...
Why would you knock me for that? Like, why would you say it in that tone?
Because you don't... Because that's what you do.
Well, no, dude, so if something happens in life, would you not think of a rational reason why? It's not like if another car hit into another car,
there's no such thing to
happened?
you as unexplained. That's what it boils down to. So you would try to rationalize it and explain it.
Yeah, of course I would.
Yes,
but
what would you do? Like say this is post our camping trip. Post it moving, shit was going down. We're like, what's going on? It's answering questions or things are happening. The thing moves off the board, and what do you do?
I can't get behind. Hold on. So, as soon as something unexplained happens in your life, like where do you go? Where does your brain go to? Like, do you just assumed it's ghosts or something? Like of course.
Well, no.
Anything unexplained that
First,
happens,
I will
I'm
try
gonna
to
be
rationalize
like, why did this
I'll be
happen?
like, how did this happen? Oh my God, what is that? Then I'd be like, okay, was that fucking curtain? But there's something. Then I'd be like, well, I don't know what the fuck it was. I have no clue. To me, it's a fucking ghost.
But if see, that's what I'm saying. I never go there. I never go.
So
to
I know.
right?
So you would never go there if it moved. Say we did there and it started moving and it was going. Like we were asking questions, it was answering, it was doing shit, blah 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 blah, like a normal Ouija board experience. Or how would you react? I mean, I'm just curious. What would you?
Well, so I would immediately go towards our personal bias towards it, right?
You'd be like, you're moving it. You would totally blame me for moving it because you weren't moving it. If that means you had to have been moving it. So game over, done. Story discussion's over.
Why does it need to, dude? Why would could it move on its own, right? Without without a person touching it, right? Why does it need to travel through us? What's the point? What's our tie to it? Like I would go down this road of just thinking like why, and it's like, well, none of that makes sense. So one of us has to be doing it. We're willing it to move. We want to, dude. There's a thing in England, and I know we're running late, so we got to wrap this up. But there's a they call them dowsers. It's not a thing that happens here in the U.S. It looks like when I saw it, I was like, this is what they do in England. What the fuck's going on in England, man? But imagine if you took like big pieces of wire and turned them into an L, right? Just an L. And you hold two of them,
and it takes you to water or something, or takes you to something.
Dude, exactly right. And this guy's like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I just believe that he's like, when I walk forward, he's like, and he's on camera. He's like, one of them is the one closest to me is going to turn and point to camera, and the other one's going to stay forward. And as he's walking forward, just this thing turns towards. Like it just like the one in his right hand turns, and his hand's not doing anything crazy. It's not, not that I could see. And it was part of this debunking video where they then said, okay, let's further test this, right? Like if you can really tell what this is, and they ran a whole series of tests. They like put some like sand and water in cups and hit them in boxes, and like which one's the sand, and these dowsers should be able to tell like these are going to point to the sand. And they interviewed him after and like, hey, what'd you think? He's like, well, I thought I was going to get 6 out of 6 because this is what I believe. And he's like, I didn't get a fucking single thing. I didn't get a single one right. And so, but at some point, like he's moved. Like, do we believe that guy? Right? Like, do we believe he's making this fucking wire thing turn? This coat hanger piece?
It was pointing towards water, right? Is that what it was?
It was no. So he was in the example. He's like, no, I just have this talent. I can't explain it. And there was all of like they were called dowsers, and there was. They made it seem like there was a lot. Maybe there was only 10, but it was this thing of, hey, we're gonna prove this, and They also brought in psychics, and they're like, hey, we're gonna like, how do you want to do it? Like, we're gonna fit your idea of how to make this work, but also we're gonna do our own thing too. Right. So like we're gonna prove both. So it can't be weighted towards you. And they failed under scientific testing. All psychics, all dowsers, they all failed. Right. Every single one of them. And so if I just that guy holding that thing, as he said, this thing is gonna in my right hand, it's gonna turn towards the camera. As he walks forward, it turns towards the camera.
Right.
He wanted it to. So there's something he's doing it. When we're holding the Ouija on the Ouija board, are we moving it? Like, so if it moves when you and I do it.
What if this happens? What if we're here and it slides off the board?
So as a kid, I think that freaked us out.
Yes. I remember being freaked out.
We got to run. We got to get
Do
out
we
of here
run?
And put it away.
Or do we continue because like it's not real, so let's just keep going?
Does any of it make sense?
Chris, I know. That's what I'm saying. If we're doing this and it fucking slides off the board, where does your where my rationale is? I'm all on board. It's real. Where does somebody who thinks not like me go with that?
So I'm just I immediately go to, why does it need to be something that's mass produced by like Parker Brothers? Again, I don't know who makes the Ouija board.
I think it is Parker Brothers. But
sure, but why does Parker Brothers got to make it? Why does it got to be mass produced in China?
Right.
And if that doesn't matter, which someone who might be really deep into this might say, then why don't I when I hold this, why doesn't this just dump on my head? Right now I'm going to stare at this and I want this to dump on my head. I'm going to give it I'm just holding it. I'm just doing my best I can just to not drop it lightly. And I just want it, like, it's not going to drop on my head. Right?
I would love if it just dumped on
I
your
know,
head.
you're right. But I'm just saying it doesn't make sense that we would.
But
why does it got to be the Ouija
that
board?
things have to make sense, and that's where you lose me. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to make sense to you. Just because it doesn't make sense to you, it doesn't mean any. You know what I mean? It doesn't. Okay, listen, we're beating a dead horse here. My point is,
in your world it doesn't have to make sense, but in my world it has to make.
I know, but I'm telling you, I'm giving you a scenario, right? I'm giving you a scenario. We're here. You don't believe. You're still the same. I'm still the same. And all of a sudden, this fucking Ouija slides off the board, and our hands are still in the same position like this, barely touching it. And all of a sudden, it slides off the board. But you're like, well, why would it have to do that? Well, it doesn't make sense that it did that. You know, like to me, I'd be like, okay, fuck, I'm convinced.
So, if I'm down with, I mean, dude, then we have to throw them out. Like, what if it spells the word kill, or what if it spells the word, murder or something,
right?
And then, or like run, you know what I mean? Like, where
do we run?
Like, dude, I'm not gonna lie, on some level, I'd be terrified.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I know, right? But that just adds to you. You're like, well, dude, then if you don't believe, why?
I know, but Chris, like, what? Okay, so your plan is we have to have a plan, which we could discuss this when we do this. But you have to have a plan. If this goes too far, we have to stop it and burn it and throw it in the fire.
As long as when we camp, unlike last time, you don't pass out at like 7:30 at night and leave me alone in the forest.
I'm a night shifter now. I should be able to stay up late now.
I know I'm gonna be in trouble. No, dude, listen, I'm down. We should do it, and we'll do a podcast when we're out there. Like we'll see how it goes. We'll try to capture it all. We definitely don't have the equipment for this, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, maybe we could just set up a camcorder. Do you have a camcorder? I don't think I have a camcorder.
I do, but it's power. Power is the issue. Yeah. Anyways, dude, we'll figure it out, and we'll do a ghost number 2. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But dude, God, I think you're.
I wish.
And
I wish it would spell out kill and murder, and then an alien lands, and then Bigfoot comes up behind us. I would love it. That'd be the way I want to die, right there.
The only plausible one out of all of that is the alien. Dude, I mean this in the most respectful way possible. I think you're an idiot for believing in ghosts, but I love you, brother, and we'll do this next time.
Right. All right.